Hello and welcome to What's the Story? I'm Mark,
And I'm Michael.
and welcome. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing alright. How about you?
I'm doing fine. We're recording this on, what's today, Sunday? Just rolling up the weekend.
Yeah.
Pretty good weekend we had today. I spent some family time with the cousins. I don't know what you did.
Work. I work every weekend.
Yeah, that's rough. We all got problems.
Yeah.
Anyways, what are we discussing this week?
Well, this week we're talking about artificial intelligence, or AI.
AI. Scary shit, man.
Eh.
I'm not gonna. The whole time I was researching this thing, I was really frustrated with everything that I read because I disagreed with it so heavily, like at my core, at the core of it all.
What do you mean you disagreed with it?
Let's get into what AI is, and then I'll discuss my gripes with it.
Alright, fair enough. So, AI, at its most basic definition, is the intelligence exhibited by machines or software. Such examples could be Watson, if anybody watches Jeopardy, that machine that they use to, pit against the top Jeopardy players and they could answer questions. Self-driving
I
cars
never
is
saw
another
that.
example.
Did you see that?
Yeah, it was a while back, but yeah, it won, if I remember correctly, so it was able to answer the questions enough, display some sort of intelligence.
Yeah, I never saw it.
No, yeah, so, that, driving cars, Siri is another example, but those are very...
I looked into driving cars, or self-driving cars, I should say, before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even before we decided to research AI or whatever. It's pretty complex stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not... the way they described it working was... It's not so much that we don't have the technology to do it. It's just that it takes an incredible amount of processing power. To do it.
The way I read it was that we're not smart enough to, create it. Like, it's going to take some sort of genius.
Are you talking about AI? Because I'm talking specifically about self-driving cars.
Oh, I'm talking about AI, but...
No, I'm saying self-driving cars specifically. Right
it's been explained to me, and that stuff still scares me. Like, how does it know, and how does it, know where to go, and how does it know not to hit something, and, if a child jumps out in front of it, how does it know to stop?
I understand what you're saying. The way it was described to me, or at least the way that I interpreted it, was... Like, I think the human brain makes something like 10 decisions, like, every second,
Yeah.
I think. If I'm remembering right, that could be way off. But a self-driving car, has to make even more decisions than we do when we're driving.
Yeah.
Because, we're just kind of hardwired to react to what we see and everything. But to actually program a car to interpret and react to weather and, street conditions and, oh, that light turned red, or, oh, that's a stop sign, or there's people crossing the street, or there's a car to the left of me, to the right of me, there's a car behind me, there's a car in front of me.
It's not intuitive to the machine, so it needs to be programmed to...
Yeah, it has to be programmed to recognize all of that, and recognize changes in all of that, and just be aware of everything and how they're moving and what move. It has to calculate. It has to calculate which moves it can make next, and which would be the most effective or efficient or safe decisions to make. It's a lot.
And get you to the airport on time.
And get you where you're going on time and in one piece. But like I said, it's not... So, with all of that, like, that's not insane. Like, to say that we can't do it. It's just, like I said, it takes an insane amount of processing power for a computer in a car to be able to do something like that.
Yeah, and I'll just put it out there, like, anyone who even, is in this field and is at the forefront of all that, they're geniuses. I can't even imagine the intelligence and the time and effort to, be able to program all the decisions and all that. Because, like, we were saying about the car, it's intuitive for us, but they need to put it in the computer's, processing system to be able to recognize and make all the decisions on its own.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane to me that somebody invented something like that.
Invented something that is able to make decisions and calculate. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And how is this not scary to you? I was reading like all of this, and all of this shit is scary because they're not like whatever self-driving cars. I can get behind that, but they're not talking about doing just self-driving cars. The way that they want AI to go is they want it to be all over the place. They want self-driving cars. They want there to be robots in the medical field at some point.
Yeah.
They want them to be involved in customer service. They want them to be soldiers, police officers, nurses, judges, and therapists of all things. And that's not scary to you?
Sort of, but it's going to get to the point where human intelligence is dwarfed by artificial intelligence. We're going to create a system where they're just going to be better and more intelligent and better decision making.
I don't understand how that's a point for, like, oh, you shouldn't be scared. Because you were like, yeah, but, and then you just made a major point about why I'm scared of it.
I mean, I don't know. It's going to happen. It doesn't freak me out that it's going to happen.
That doesn't make it less scary.
It's not. There are a lot of ways that it can happen. It doesn't mean like robot overlords are gonna happen or anything.
I'm not saying necessarily that. I just think that there are going to be a lot of things that eventually are going to be out of people's control.
Yeah.
And that's intimidating to me. That's intense.
Not so much to me.
I don't know. Maybe I'm weird, but I feel like a lot of people would also be scared of it.
That's the word that, like, I'm not scared of it. Like, oh, wow, that's going to be a time to be alive, be it good or bad. Like, wow, that's going to be amazing that we've gotten to that point. I don't know if fear is part of that. It's somewhere in there, the effects and ramifications it's going to have on us and how little control we're going to have at a certain point. But I think it's going to be amazing.
You are you're like uncomfortably nonchalant about this.
I mean, it's not going to happen for a while. Well,
no,
at least within the next...
That too. I looked up how quickly this is supposed to happen.
Oh, yeah,
It's going to happen within our lifetime, I think.
So they say.
And I am inclined to believe them. What the fuck do I know? I'm inclined to believe them when they say that.
All right. So, I mean, what we're kind of hinting at is what scientists and people in the community refer to as the technological singularity. Mm-hmm. And this is going to be a point in time when technology becomes so powerful and exponential advancement is so quick that a superintelligence is created. And hypothetically, this intelligence would be able to autonomously build itself even smarter and create more powerful machines than itself, and it would surpass all human intelligence and understanding. And yeah, that's what it's going to come down to eventually. It follows a pattern that's been tracked since like the 50s or something like that. Ever since computing, advancements have been made, since the, first computer was made and advancements, they started tracking that to see where it would go. And it's going to happen, or, it's widely believed that it's going to happen from, top people in the science community. There's an international joint conference on artificial intelligence in 2015, and its letter stated, "Some have speculated that we could one day lose control of AI systems via the rise of a superintelligence that does not act in accordance with human wishes."
And that's what I'm scared of.
And that's such a powerful system would threaten humanity. And it's not just these whack jobs or whatever. People like,
these are like
Stephen Hawking, Elon Musk of Tesla, and Steve Wozniak, just to name a few high-profile people who were at this conference and were part of this discussion.
Yeah, I read that they signed like some document, some contract where they said they wouldn't contribute to that and that they're, strictly against it because of the possible ramifications of it.
Well, that's the thing. I also don't think it's going to stop just because...
No, I'm not saying that either. I'm just saying that people up there, on that level of, that high level of this field that they're in, are adamantly against it. And I think that's something to take note of.
That being said, there are also people it's not everybody, of that intelligence or in this field is like, it's coming and you should all be afraid and we should be vehemently against it.
You should, though.
You should. There are people who say it's just a fantasy. In the same way that, 50 years ago or 100 years ago, people said, we're all going to have personalized jetpacks and we're going to jetpack to work and we're going to have nuclear-powered cars.
Okay, yeah, I heard... like, okay, well, I'll let you finish, and then I'm gonna.
No, it's
speak
just
to that point.
People in that community say, like, this is just another fantasy, and it's not a foregone conclusion that we're gonna reach a certain point where we're gonna lose control of technologies. That's just what we could fathom from where we are right now.
Okay, yeah, but the difference between that, and I watched a TED Talk on this,
Yeah,
where some guy was talking about artificial intelligence, and he said, "Look, it's just kind of the way the world goes." He said, 1,000 years ago, I don't know if it was 1,000 years ago, but he was like a long time ago, 90% of people worked in agriculture.
yeah,
Because that's just what they had to do. That's
yeah.
what we needed to do. Now, 2% of people work in agriculture. And he made that point, and I was like, what does that have to do with it? I think that this is like a completely different thing that we're doing because we're creating an intelligence. We're creating something that is able to adapt and learn and create and think. And it's scary for me. I keep saying scary, and like I don't want to sound like I'm just being a bitch about it, but like it's really intense because we're creating something that's akin to us. Like, and even could surpass us. It's like we're playing God on some level.
See, I don't see it that way. Just because
fuck you.
It's because it's not so dramatic. It's much more.
But it could be.
No, I'm saying the people who are studying artificial intelligence aren't like, I spit in God's face and I shall create a new, better life form. It's not like that.
I don't think they ever are when like something like that happens.
What?
I don't think that they ever are.
But there's a
about.
practical reason as to why, artificial intelligence is being played with. I mean, where is it? I mean, stuff like something as simple as Siri and voice recognition and stuff like that. It's meant to make life easier and life better. To have advancements in technology in the medical field, and to have robots tell us on the most basic detail what's wrong with us because they have access to this vast pool of information. I mean, called Google. Just have a sentient Google to be able to tell us information and to have us reason in a different way that we wouldn't be able to.
Sure.
And even, I mean, that's, to have an artificial intelligence like that far in advance, but to have something like, I mean, self-driving cars and just stuff like that to make life easier. It's not this.
Okay, but I mean, I'm with you in that it can make life easier, but again, this is like a whole nother ballgame for us. Like, Siri on its own is not artificial intelligence. It is maybe an element of what artificial intelligence needs, but Siri by itself is not artificial intelligence. Like, they're having a lot of problems with AI because they have to combine all this stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they have to combine, the main things they said they have to combine are reasoning, which is like, the step-by-step reasoning that, let's say, goes through a person's mind when they're problem solving.
Yeah.
They have to program a machine that is able to problem solve like that.
Yeah.
Like, not where like a machine on like a car make line is programmed to, okay, I gotta weld this to that, and then I gotta do this, and that's my job. It's like programming to, this is thrown at you, what do you do? And the machine has to figure it out.
Well, even that's not. It could be argued is an intelligence, but it's not true.
No, I know. I'm just saying that's one piece.
Yeah.
Of it. If I could finish my point here. The other, or one of the other pieces of that puzzle is knowledge representation. Like, humans have knowledge just stored away in their mind.
Yeah.
And they use it they apply it to certain situations to help with that problem solving. So they need to also teach that computer or that machine to take the information it has and use it to fix that problem or solve that problem that is, presented to it. It also has to work with automated planning and scheduling, which is like it has to be able to figure something out and plan how to do something without being programmed to, you have to make a plan to do this. Like, you have to, it has to on its own make the decision to make, okay, this should be step 1, this should be step 2, and it has to like, layer all these steps onto each other so that it can solve, again, the problem that it's presented with. And once it solved that problem, it has to learn from it and do it better the next time, if there's a next time, and that's the next part, which is machine learning, the ability for computers to learn, again, without being explicitly programmed to do so. Siri is one of the pieces, which is natural language processing, the ability to process the languages of actual people, like who are talking to it.
Yeah.
It has to be able to pick up on cues and, tones, and it's not just the words. It has to pick up on, stress levels and what this person's feeling, they're saying, just for specific fields. Like they said, they want them to be, potentially they want them to be like therapists and police officers and stuff. They have to be able to, interpret that kind of thing. And then it has to apply computer vision to it, which is basically being able to process an image, whether it's through a camera or through an actual image or something.
Yeah.
So it has to combine all of that, which on its own is like really complex.
Yeah,
like
each one of those pieces by itself.
Yeah. And then it needs to apply all of those into robotics, which again by itself is a whole nother like complex piece of this puzzle. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into this AI stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, you went through all the specifics of it, but what true AI is eventually going to come down to, and what you were saying, all those things combined, the goal is to be able to simulate the way a human brain works, to reverse engineer and understand how the brain works and how to replicate it in machinery, so that, at some point it could basically think, act, and learn like a human. And two things that you didn't really talk about, but because all of that is still within the realm of what we know robots or technology could do today.
Sure.
But things that would mark true artificial intelligence, the singularity, is a computer being self-aware and be able to comprehend or have an emotional intelligence as well, to have its own entity and to be able to think and act, on its own accord.
Yeah.
And people who say that is coming, one proponent of this theory is, where is he? Ray Kurzweil. He's a computer scientist, an inventor, and the director of engineering at Google. So he's not just, he's a respected person in the technological
community. None of these people are just schmucks in their garages. Well, these are all,
I'm just saying, there are people, okay, I guess you're right. We've said like there are high profile people enough. So there's this model called the Moore's Law, and it models the growth of technology and where it is going to be, and this is where they get the estimation of when we're going to have this singularity, this true artificial intelligence. And if computers keep following this trend that's modeled by this, computers are going to be 1,000,000 times more powerful in 20 years, and in 25 years they're going to be 1,000,000,000 times more powerful. And that follows the trend that's happened since the 50s. I mean, computers today are 1,000,000 times cheaper and 1,000 times more powerful than computers just 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. I mean, 40 years ago, the computers were the size of an entire room and were so basic compared to, computers today. Yeah. In the 80s, computers could display text and rudimentary pixel art. 90s, they were more commonplace, but primarily for office work and still very, basic compared to the computers today. And Moore's Law predicted all of this and more up until today, where, it predicted the state of technology as it is right now. And if we keep following this model, it says by 2020, a computer will be able to simulate the human brain. We won't necessarily be able to reverse engineer and understand all the parts of it, but we'll be able to simulate something resembling a human brain and human thought and human, comprehension in the computer. And we've already started to reverse engineer parts of the brain and apply it to computers. Like, I mean, we're talking about auditory and visual cortex, driver cars being able to, scan the area around it and react and understand, and Siri, the auditory, being able to react. And even stuff like skill formation with the cerebellum will be able to have computers learn and react to their environment. And by 2029, we'll be able to reverse engineer all the parts of the brain and simulate all the brain's capabilities, which include our emotional intelligence. And eventually, we'll be able to combine this, power of the machine in other ways that machines already surpass humans, such as, developing, other machines and even just emotional intelligence, and I mean, just have access to all human knowledge and create this super intelligence. But even this isn't necessarily the singularity where it's going to surpass all human comprehension, because it's just all the start of it. At that point, it'll still be manageable. But if it keeps following this trend, the model says by 2045, we're going to be at the point where we'll lose control of all artificial intelligence, or lose control of machines, and that intelligence will surpass our own, and we'll be in a new age, and everything will be different.
How are you so nonchalant about this? I don't understand.
Because it's just a theory.
I don't have a counter for that. But just the potential that it could happen is scary as fuck. You don't think so?
Like, I'm not scared. Like,
I don't like that we're dabbling in it. Let me put it that way.
I mean, I see why we do it. I mean, again, we've explored the reasons why we do it, because, it makes everything easier. I mean, we're looking to improve our lives and improve technology, and that's just the natural course of it. And this is just one of many outcomes.
No. Look, there's nothing natural about this, okay? We're creating, or attempting to create thought from nothing.
That's the thing. We're not attempting to. This is just a byproduct of us making advancements in technology. Again, these people aren't like,
okay,
I'm
but what
trying
is that
to play God.
Okay, but yeah, whatever. We're not. Maybe they're not directly trying to play God, but what is the result of that? Because you're saying, no, that's not what we're trying to do. This is just technology moving forward. But
yes.
What's happening is we are attempting to create thought from nothing.
We're not attempting to do that. That's just a byproduct of what we're trying to do.
But it's happening. So how can you say that we're not trying to do that?
Because we're not trying to do it.
What are we trying to do?
We're trying to advance technologies to make life easier.
That's
okay,
but better. How are we doing that?
By
creating thought from nothing.
No, by creating smarter and smarter machines.
Which will eventually...
Yes, but we're not trying to do that. Eventually...
But we see that it's coming, and it's like, yeah, whatever, let's keep moving forward. Then it's like, that's what we're trying to do.
Again, this is a theory, a widely accepted theory, and it's plausible, and, it could happen, and it's modeled to happen by 2045.
I hope the fucking machines come for you. I hope they come for you hard, because, you're being really passive about this, and...
I'm sorry, I'm not worried about...
I just think that something like this has to be gone into with a little heavier mindset.
I'm sure...
If you're, trying to do something like this.
Mark, we've said there are conferences of very important, very smart people who are addressing these issues and addressing these things. It's not me and you just talking about this. I have faith that this is going to, work out fine. And if it doesn't, then what can we do? I'm not worried.
Of course, there's going to be a point where there's nothing we can do. But again, that's the scary part of it. And I don't understand what's so difficult for you to understand.
I'm not living in fear of the singularity.
Neither am I. I'm still living my life fine. But it is a scary thing.
Meh.
Fuck you. No, but because I feel this way about it, like I said, I was so just frustrated with everything that I read about it. There were all these articles, and just with the title, I would just start being like, why? Why are we doing that? It would say,
Like what?
Oh, we are engineering a robot so that it learns creativity. I'm like, why? Why do we need to do that? Why does a robot need to be creative? It doesn't have to be creative. That's just like creating another danger for us. Or it said a robot was able to learn words just like a human baby learns words. And I thought, why the fuck are we doing that?
I'll tell you why we're doing that. So we could learn about ourselves. If we could understand how a baby learns words, and we're able to see how a computer learns words, that means we learn more about us, which means we could, help us more. It's all for the sake of us.
This all comes down, like, I've always kind of thought that there are just some things that we are not meant to understand. And I think us being able to do this kind of thing is getting kind of close to us.
I disagree. There's always been closed-minded people to, like, we don't need electricity. I mean, the Amish, they don't believe in anything that we're doing nowadays. And I think that's dangerous, equally dangerous thinking as to the people who are saying, like, yes, let's create a super intelligence that will, change everything. We're going to progress, and I don't see any problem with that necessarily. But this doesn't have to be the
way that we progress.
Yes, it does. We can't limit how we progress.
I don't know if I would say limiting so much as controlled direction that we take.
That's limiting.
That's not limiting. That's choosing to go a different route.
People are cautious already. Like, I don't know what more you expect from these people.
Look, maybe it's just me being, like, not smart enough to comprehend what they're saying. But, I don't know. That's just my 2 cents on it. Again, like, maybe I'm just too stupid to comprehend, and, like, I'm like one of those old people that doesn't understand technology and is scared of it. But, like, if that's my role, then fuck it. Like, I'm embracing it, because I do not feel comfortable with it.
I just feel it's a natural progression, and
then I was going through it, and there was this section of research that I went to called roboethics, saying that eventually, if these machines do get intelligent enough, that they're going to be given certain rights. And immediately I said, fuck that. Why are we giving them rights?
Because it's intelligence.
No, fuck that. It's something that we created. It's not life.
Okay,
intelligence is not life.
Let's go with this crazy future where
look,
robots born, it has intelligence.
Wait,
you want to piss off this robot?
Wait, just to be clear, I don't think that it's going to be like Terminators roaming the street or anything. Okay? I just think that something bad and out of our control is going to happen. And I don't even know what that is.
And I say again, it's a baby robot, whatever, it's harmless. We create this intelligence, this sentience, this new kind of being that understands and is aware of its own existence and comprehends life and death. And you want to just dismiss it like, we created you. Now we own you, and you have no rights, and you're going to be our slave.
No, not at all. I want to shoot it in the face and have it be nobody's slave, and just like not.
But then that's limiting. That's limiting our advancement.
That's fine. That's fine with me. What else do we need as humanity? What else do we need?
Cures for cancer, ways to stop wars, tracking terrorists, any number of things.
But we don't need AI for any of that.
Yes, we do. You want all man on the mark. We have drones as it is, which is another form of artificial intelligence. We have unmanned drones out there. We need to implement technology to make us safer. And yeah, it's going to, technology has bit us in the ass before. But it's going to
reach a tipping point, though.
Yeah, and that's just the course of life. We can't live in a cave and say, I fear for one day that we will die. We're all going to die. Life is going to end.
But it's one thing to say, oh, like, I made this, and we as people can use it to better life or, get closer to something. It's a completely other thing to be like, I created this thing, and now it's better than us. Like, there was this line that said, eventually, humankind will be obsolete.
Yeah.
And that scares the shit out of me. Why do we want to contribute to making ourselves obsolete?
2 reasons. A, that's just a hypothetical situation. Maybe it'll happen millions of years down in the future. Maybe it will happen in 30 years. That's still just a maybe. And as long as people are at the head of the wheel, I trust them to make the decision.
Oh, you have far too much faith in people, I think.
Well, what do you think? Again, you think, okay, intelligence created. Again, you say you don't believe in this Terminator future, so what's so scary?
I don't know what's not scary about it. We're creating
someone's just better. You're scared of something being better than you?
Michael, you know why? Because we're better than all the animals. Not better. We're smarter than all the animals on the planet. And look at us. We're at the top.
Yeah.
And every
so you're scared of a Terminator future?
I'm scared of being inferior. Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
you're scared of something better than you.
I'm scared that we're creating something that is better than us. I think it's stupid. Like, why would we do that?
Because
No, and don't say because we're advancing. Because we have other ways. Like, we can advance without artificial intelligence. We've been doing it for decades. Okay, we don't need.
But Mark, that's gonna put a cap on us. We're gonna hit a wall. Human intelligence has a limit, and we're gonna grow and grow and grow. But at what point do you stop? It's not like, again, it's not gonna be one day some scientist being like, I'm going to create artificial intelligence, this is going to be a thing. It's all going to be progressive steps. Like, I want to understand how the brain works. Well, I want to understand, why the brain works. I want to understand how a person or an intelligence would react to this. I want to understand how an intelligence would react to that. It's all for the betterment of humankind. And sure, maybe, again, this is all a maybe, we're going to hit a point where it becomes super intelligent and it becomes sentient and we have to deal with now our robot brethren. And yeah,
fuck them. I'll be like anti-robots. Will Smith and iRobot? I'll be that guy. Fuck him.
Okay. I don't believe in this scary Terminator future. I think this is all just progress.
I don't trust it. I don't trust something that's better than us that we can't control.
So you don't trust anyone who's better than you?
Michael, I barely trust people who are on my level, okay?
I'm not afraid of people and other things that are better than me. I welcome them and hope that they could improve the world as a whole.
And that's why you're gonna... I don't know. That's why something terrible is gonna happen to you when the tipping point is reached. They said something in the TED Talk that I was like, whoa. They said that from the beginning of humanity, right? Mm-hmm. Human knowledge, like the knowledge that mankind accumulated, doubled every 1,500 years. Okay?
Okay.
In recent centuries, just because we reached science and we had a better understanding of things, it got lowered to every 250 years. And then after that, the next jump was every 15 years. And now, present day, it's every 1 year. And they said within the next few decades, it's going to be every 12 hours.
I don't necessarily believe that. Because I read another study where human intelligence hasn't raised any significant amount in millennia. Maybe our intelligence, not intelligence, but our...
Look, this artificial intelligence, why, if it's better than us and better able to process everything and learn and adapt, why wouldn't it be able to just double its intelligence and knowledge every 12 hours?
It can. There's said that, models show that it'll come to a point where a supercomputer could update its own hardware or software or whatever, I don't know computer terms, but it could upgrade itself within seconds and create a better version of itself in less than a second, a fraction of a second, and just get better and better and better. Yeah, that's going to happen.
And I don't want it to.
And that's the podcast.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I'm out of information.
Likewise.
It's scary.
I feel like this got more into a debate, but, we got out some information there.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. We got out what we wanted to say.
Hey, and maybe if you guys have thoughts on this, let us know.
Yeah, feel free to comment or,
Do you welcome the robot overlords or fear them?
If you're smart, you fear them.
All right, well, that's the podcast. And then
we will see you next time on What's the Story.
All right.
Have a good one, people.